dehydrated. Through being a hot mess express today.
Oh, good. Take your time.
Where is my? There it is. Okay, ready.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
So glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, it's cold. I don't know where you're at, but it is like cold. I'm in North Carolina and it's cold. That's just not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
So
I'm in
just saying.
Virginia. I don't actually know what the temperature is, but because I haven't been outside yet today. Let's see. I'm checking as we speak. It says it's 34. Oh, apparently it's snowing.
That's what it says on mine. Light rain and snow. It has been raining and cold here all day today. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm ready for spring.
I, you know, I'm okay with the cold weather because I hate hot weather.
Oh, yes.
So, you know,
I like that happy medium, like 65, 70. Where it's just perfect.
I'm like 50 to 55 is the perfect year-round temperature, but even like down between 30 and 40 feels good. Like I'm that happy person. I hate summer.
Yeah, I don't like summer either, but I'm not a big fan of winter either. So, you know.
If I don't have to drive in the snow, I'm good with it. I'm fine.
I don't blame you. Well, welcome. I'm so glad to
Thank
have
you.
you here. Everybody, we are joined by author Britton Brinkley. I have just recently discovered your books. I got sucked into Rise of the Grissom thanks to Shelley because she's like, I don't even like fantasy. She's like, and I love this book. And she's like, and I know fantasy is your jam. So here you go. So is this, I'm not done it. Because it's a big book.
It is. It is. She's a chunker.
So I'm not finished with it yet because I had to put it off to the side because I'm trying to get my own book finished because it was supposed to
Yeah.
be the editor last month. But I'm like, I'm almost there, and I love it. And is book two out yet? Like,
No, book
I
two's
didn't
not
think it was
out.
because I was looking.
Not yet. I am aiming for July, but if I can get it done sooner, I will. But aiming for July. Aiming. I was originally trying to get it out in February, and then I'm sure you've heard about Robert's Row.
Mhm.
Our Delulu really just got the best of us,
I know a
and
few of those ladies.
yeah, so that timeline did not work out. And as we said, like book one it's a pretty thick book, and I'm really scared what book two is going to look like. Because I haven't written it yet, but it's coming. It's up here. A lot of it's up here, so just gotta write it.
I'm excited. Like I said, Shelly was constantly talking about it, and I was like, all right, all right, all right, I'll get it. And uh I hated to put it down. But then I was like, I'm also like, if I know there's a book two, I hate to wait. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll stop and I'll
Mhm.
wait. But I foresee me going back and rereading this whole book. I foresee it happening. Just because I
That's
really
amazing.
do enjoy it. Like I was like,
Good.
oh, but I love fantasy. Fantasy is my thing. And I do love a good white shoes and some mortally gray men. I love it. What else do you have? Because I was looking through, I was kind of stalking you when I knew you were coming on here, but most of them don't look like they're parent. Is this your only paranormal or fantasy book you have out, or is
Yeah.
there? That's
So
what I
this is
thought.
that's my only fantasy so far. I do have a paranormal found family kind of like thriller vibes with Phoenix shifters. There are other shifters too, but she's a Phoenix. Um,
Okay, what is this book? I must write this down now because I love me some
so
shifters. Which book is this?
that's this one. So Feathers of Truth is the first one,
Oh, I saw that one.
and then Feathers of Destruction is book two. And the last book in this trilogy will come out sometime this year. Um, Hopefully again sooner rather than later, but we'll see because my Delulu keeps telling me write all these other extra books that you didn't even have planned for this year. That's where we're at.
I only have one book out, and I'm currently trying to finish up the book two to get it to the first round of editing. But it's like
Mhm.
once you write that first book, it's like Pandora's box just opens up. And it's
Yes.
like all these characters like jump in your head and want to be written. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa! Let me finish this. So I completely understand that.
Yeah, yeah. And we have a couple of regular readers that are constantly like, "Oh, I would like a book for so and so." I'm like, "They what? They weren't supposed to. Why did you even latch onto that character? They weren't supposed to have anything." But then they say it, and you're like, "Oh, well, yeah, it would be really nice if they had something." But if they have something, then blah 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 blah. Also have to have something because we can't leave people out. Yes, I'm talking about you, Vanessa. We can't leave people out. And so then all of a sudden you've got like a 10-book spinoff series that you never even planned on. And it's, you know, and then I have other friends that like, they'll message me in the middle of the night and they're like, I came up with a book idea. I'm like, okay, sure. That's how Grissom actually happened. One of my friends came to me and was like, I want you to write a book with all of these things in there. I failed on the dragons, so I still owe her a dragon book. But everything else made it in there. And
Hey,
here
you
we are.
haven't written book two yet. You could squeeze a dragon in there. There's room. There's
I
always
don't even
room for
know how,
dragons.
like, I don't feel like dragons would fit into this series. But I actually do have another one up here that has pocket dragons that are essentially like portal systems to other worlds. So
There you
um,
go.
that's, and stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. That is not a right now thing. Actively have to talk to myself.
That's okay. I understand. I actually was writing mine, and a character popped in, and it's I got six people. I don't think any of my readers are on here. They're all your readers. It's for a pixie dragon, and I call it a prixel or pragon. I'm trying to figure out how to mix it, but it's going
Yeah,
to be like a miniature dragon that can go bigger or smaller. So I was like, okay, I'm not hating that idea, so I'm trying to fit that in. He's
I
only an
love
egg right
that.
now, though. So
That was the thought I had with my dragons too. Like on a normal day to day, they're like little companions, and they're like pocket dragons. You just slip them in your pocket, you keep going. But in their homelands, that's when they're actually like normal sized. But like in the human world, they're these little cute little.
see, we'll just start this whole thing where everybody's going to have little mini dragons.
I think that's great. I'm on
I'm
board.
here for it. I didn't know where it came from. I was just like, it's one of those characters that just popped in my head, and I was like, okay.
Perfection. Perfection.
How long have you been writing? Because you got quite a few books out.
Yeah. So I started like April 2021. That's when I wrote my first book, which was a joke. And my friend made me promise to publish it. It's still not published, but it's actually coming out later this year.
You got a
But
busy year. That's like 3 books already.
that's not even the half of it. We won't. If I gave you the whole schedule, you'd probably keel over in your chair. Um,
Probably.
but I started writing then, and we had been like just talking, and we're like, man, it'd be so cool to live in a fantasy world and do all these fantasy things. Because we were reading like Akatar and From Blood and Ash and the Crave series, like all those really popular fantasy series at the time. We're like, we just want to go and like wield swords and do cool stuff. And a glass of wine or two suddenly makes you think that you can do all sorts of things.
Of course.
And we were like, we should write a book. And she was like, by we, I mean you. And I was like, okay. And so that night I started writing this book about these like two best friends that like live in a fantasy world essentially. They get to do all the cool things. And she asked me to finish it, so I finished it because I was like, yeah, we're on lockdown. What else am I gonna do? Um, and then made me promise to publish it, and I was like, no, but I agreed just so she would leave me alone. And then a couple months later, I had just moved to Chicago. So this was like August time frame. And she was like, I have a book idea. Can you write it? I'm like, sure. And that became the first book I published. Misunderstood over there. It's over there somewhere. That's one of them, and that's the other one.
So honestly, I think out of that's like the silver lining that came out of COVID is a lot of authors got their start because I'm one of them. I started writing
Yeah.
mine because we were stuck indoors and like we needed to have some kind of outlet. And now there's like all kinds of stories that came out of that time. So
Hmm.
talk about a silver lining, out of a horrible tragedy, we got books, which
Yeah,
is okay. When you
exactly.
finally decided to get that first book published, you're indie, correct?
Hmm.
Did you think about going traditional, or how did you decide to go the route you did to get that book published?
So me and the same friend that the characters from my first book I wrote are about, like are their personalities are based on us. Um, we were just like, I mean, there are ways that we can just publish the book ourselves. And we were just so gung ho and so giddy, like we had no idea what we were doing. Found out that like you can publish through Amazon. So it's like that great and it's free. That's even better because we really don't know what we're doing. We have no idea. And so that's how we that's how we first published that book. And I had gone back and forth with the fantasy book that's going to be coming later this year on, do I query it? Do I not? Like it's fantasy. I feel like maybe I should because the big publishers will be able to do something with it. And when I looked into querying and what it would take, and I was just like,
It's really not worth
and it
it.
was just
Sorry.
so easy to do it through Amazon. And so I was just like, I mean, this is going well. I'm liking this. And then you start to learn more and you start to hear about some of the horror stories about being in trad, but also there are horror stories that go with being an indie. And the more I got more comfortable with putting them out myself, I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm really type A and I'm a bit of a control freak. And so to sell my story to someone and then have them tell me, "Oh, I don't like this, this and this, like change it," would probably be a really easy way to set my temper. I'm originally from Jersey. We don't really have a long fuse. Like our fuse is it's real short. Um so for me, like indie's a great way to go. I get to control everything. Like yes, I have to do everything and there are plenty of days I want to tear my hair out, but I like being in control. And I'm kind of at a point where I would only go trad if they came to me and were like, your series is already out. We'll take it as it is. We're going to just like change the cover and maybe do like some updated edits. And I'd be like, okay, cool. What's my
Exactly.
6 figure deal? And that's,
Or if Netflix comes calling because
yeah. I mean, if
making a
Netflix comes
series.
calling, silver platter. Hold on, I got one downstairs. I'm going to go grab it.
So when you are getting the juices flowing, I mean, because I mean, you're releasing a bunch of books, so you must be like Superwoman when it comes to typing. But when you're getting those, when you're clicking into author mode, how do you turn that on? Like, are we lighting some incense or doing some meditation? Do you have to have like a certain beverage? Do you got music in the background? How do you switch on author mode and get that flowing?
I think the better question is, how do I switch it off? Because it's literally always on. Um, and like fortunately no one from work follows me, so I feel okay saying this, but like it's actually really hard for me to focus on doing the normal things that I have to do in life. Like cleaning takes a back seat. Like even working during the day, my work setup, my job setup is like right literally right next to us. And so it's really easy to just like swivel this way and be like and not do my actual job like I'm supposed to. But it's a lot harder for me to turn it off than it's an issue of turning it on. And if it's not turning on, then it's just not. And I walk away. It's not a day to write. It's not a day to edit. And I just go read, or I'm probably watching some like true crime documentary or something. And that's okay because I'm a firm believer in, if it's just not hitting that day, it's not hitting. And it's okay. Like just walk away, and when it does, come on back because I don't have the time to produce garbage and then try to fix it. Oh, yeah, real shorts. Those get me every time. I'm the person that pays the 19.99 so that I can watch the whole thing. I'm that
Ah,
person.
excuse me.
Um, no, you're fine. So really for me, it's more about turning it off than turning it on. If it's not on, I don't try to turn it on. I just let it
So
be.
do you ever suffer from like writer's block or where you're like burned out? Like, does that ever happen?
Um, I would say the burnout happens, yes, not from the actual writing though. It's from all the other stuff. It's the marketing. It's the I have emails to answer. It's the I signed up for 20 signings because I thought it was like a smart thing to do at the time. And now I have to make sure that I have all of my details in order. And yes, that is actually like almost a true statement. Um, but so it's all the other stuff that goes with being an author that kind of just like hits that overwhelm point sometimes. The actual writing part is the fun part.
That's the easy part when you think about it. I mean,
I have no problem just sitting here. If I had nothing else to do, no other responsibilities, no one to talk to, nothing to do, I can write a book really fast. That part is super easy. And if I do have like, if I am struggling with the words coming out for that story that day, I've got 8 other books that are currently in progress. I can switch, um, or I just do all the admin stuff I don't ever want to do, and then I just come back to it the next day. Um, you know, I don't really I don't really try to force anything because I don't have the time to try to fix it when I try to force write something and it comes out awful.
you also have an amazing support system. You have an amazing group of girls that you write with. And I don't know if I've met them all, but I know I've talked to them all. I
Yeah.
think Bobby is in here.
Hmm.
Actually, I was texting Bobby right before I jumped on. I was
That's
like,
what
"Hey,
she said.
I gotta go. I got written in 3 minutes."
We were actually on live together. So like I was like, okay, I'm gonna go, guys.
But I mean, because you guys write live. What is it? Once a week? I mean, every day. How often do you guys get together?
I mean, so we kind of have an issue with withdrawal at this point. So we really do try to get on together every day. And stop it, Bobby. Some days, we all have other lives. We have families and stuff like that. Some days we don't get on together. Some days we're in a rough patch. Like last week was a real rough patch for me, and I tried, and it just wasn't happening. So I didn't see everyone very much. If we're on vacation, we don't see each other. But generally, like the normal workday ends, and we're kind of trickling on to live together. That's how we originally met, was randomly through TikTok live, and it's never really changed. Like Bobby just went on vacation. She was gone for 3 days, and it's like that's unacceptable. The contract says you can't be gone for more than a day.
Right? Or why was she not logging on? She was on a cruise, right? Why was she not logging on
Why
for
did you
that
buy the internet?
cruise?
You
Right?
bought your laptop. I know you did. You told me you did. Yeah.
That's funny. Have you ever modeled a character after somebody in your real life? And I actually think you just answered that because you said the first book.
Yeah, so the first book, the fantasy book that's coming, what was it? Yes, I know you were busy and I'm so excited for you. Can't wait for the Kentucky wedding. Moving on. So I'm just gonna say the title of that book because it's so much easier. But The Shadows That Shackle, that was the two female main characters. Their personalities are kind of modeled after me and my friend. And so one is a little bit more impulsive and a little more quick to say exactly what she's thinking, and even though she shouldn't. And then the other one is a little bit more on like the quiet side, but like a little bit calmer, more controlled in like situations and stuff like that. So those two characters definitely. Other than that, I would say not intentionally. However, the best friend in my book that's coming out on Friday is a lot like my good friend that I actually went to college with at Ohio State, which is hilarious because this book is about people that went to Ohio State and like her moving back to Ohio. But a lot of it is very similar to our relationship, even though I didn't intentionally model that character after her. So if she ever reads it, she's gonna be like, Brinks, why did you put our whole life out there? And I'm gonna say it was my subconscious.
Oops. But when it becomes a bestseller, you can be like, yeah, I did that on purpose. Like,
Yeah. I'm excited. Maybe I'll actually be your neighbor now because she actually has been hoping for that since we graduated college.
social media. We love it, we hate it, but it's almost become like a necessary evil for authors at this point. Has it,
Mhm.
do you feel that it has helped your authorship, or do you find yourself doom scrolling more than you should be? but
Both, both. I think sometimes like we do a post and it hits and it gets attraction and it's like, yeah, I did something right. And you try to do something similar, you try to do the same, and then it's like crickets. So then you try something else and it's like nothing's hitting, nothing's hitting. Oh, one of these hit. What was it? Was it a different hashtag? Nope, because I used the exact same ones as last time. Like, was it the font? I have no idea. Maybe it was just today, like the full moon. Who knows? So I think yes, it ultimately does help when it reaches the right people, but I think it's the biggest headache. And quite
Mhm.
frankly, I wish I didn't need it. If I could do this without it, I would stop it all. And I probably wouldn't doom scroll so much either. Ashley will tell you that she oftentimes gets a lot of reels at like 2 a.m. because I'm just scrolling along. So
Understandable.
yeah,
Would you consider yourself a plotter, a pantser, or a planter?
a pantser. I don't know what's gonna happen. I have zero idea. So in all seriousness, I usually do see a couple of scenes for a book. Like I see them like movie scenes, like almost like a movie trailer. So I know these things are gonna happen. I have no idea when, how. Like I don't have the slightest clue. I just know it's gonna come up at some point during the story. But essentially once I have the first line of a book, I can start writing it, and from there the characters do whatever they want to do, and sometimes it's really hard to reel them in and tell them, I need you to make better life decisions today. I need you to not do what you're doing. Um, and actually, that was a conversation I had with Bree quite often in Grissom. Like, this doesn't sound like a good idea, but you decided to do it, and now there's consequences. So just, you know,
I
I'm
can see
definitely
that.
the answer though. I don't, I can't do the whole plotting thing. I'm not mapping out a scene. There's no outline. Half the time, I don't even know how it's going to end. And then all of a sudden, a cliffhanger comes to me, and that's what you get.
Hmm.
Vanessa, say nothing.
I can relate. I actually envy people that can plot because I have tried to plot and it doesn't work out. Like I'll try. I'm like, oh, this needs to be in the book, and the characters are like, you think not happening,
Mm-mm.
or they'll throw curveballs. I'll be thinking I'm going along, and then they'll throw a complete curveball, and I'm like, oh, that's where y'all going with that. Okay,
Yeah. Yep.
so
Yep.
I get it.
There are plenty of times where I'm like, I did not see that happening. Like, okay, I mean, it's here. We're gonna work with it, but I didn't see that happening. Hope it's okay.
And you can't fight it because if you try to fight it, then they won't let you write. Like they'll give you in my experience, limited experience. I tried to fight it, and I was like, they're like, yep, nope, not going anywhere else until you do this. So it's like
Yep.
okay, we're
That
at the mercy of the
I
characters.
I am a firm believer in my characters write their own stories,
Hmm.
and then I have to clean up their messes, and it just is what it is.
And do their marketing. How rude, right? I mean,
Right. At least you can market the book afterwards if you're going to make your own decisions. Like, do
exactly,
something. Pull your weight.
exactly.
Rude.
So, how many hours a day do you write? Do you have like a set schedule, or do you? I know you have you like you said you have a day job and you have other responsibilities. So, do you try to set a chunk of time to write, or you just fit it in wherever you can?
So I fit it in everywhere except for where I actually have to do things that I have to do. Um, so it kind of just depends on the day. So like today, I think I started like authoring around like 1:30 because I didn't feel like doing my real job anymore. So so like today I start at 1:30. Some days I start at 5:30 or 6, like if I was working late or if I had somewhere to be. Um, we so the original standard for Roberts Row, and this is kind of how we got our start, was we modeled ourselves after Nora Roberts, who writes 8 hours a day, no matter what, no exceptions. She doesn't care if she's on vacation, like she gets her 8 hours a day in. And so we were like, we need that work ethic. Um, so I really do try to aim during the weekdays. 8 hours is not always an option,
But
but
that's her job. That's her day job too. I mean,
unless
she
it's
has
my
a
day job
bookstore to,
too.
but I mean, like,
They say to
writing is
act
her
as
job.
if. So I'm trying to act as if and ignore my actual real responsibilities. No.
I got that. That
Um,
makes sense.
Usually though, if I can get a good like 4 to 5 hours in during the week, I'm super happy. Weekends, it's usually like somewhere between 8 to 10, depending on what time I get up. And I'm usually sitting right here on live, like all day.
Hey, whatever helps keep you motivated, right? I mean,
It's a good time.
now this is a purely greedy question on my part because as a newbie, I like to gather information from my authors.
Hmm.
So this is one of those, there's so many different softwares out there that authors are using. I am old school. I still write with Microsoft Word and but everybody keeps saying like Vellum and Atticus and all these other things. What do you use?
So, sorry, there's like something in my eye suddenly. So most of the time I write in Reedsy, which is like a free
Oh, good.
online platform. But I like how it tracks like your word count and like tracks it day over day and goals and things like that. And separates out the chapters. Like I like the layout of it. And you can export your files from there, like as an EPUB or a PDF if you needed to. Um, so I generally will write in there. Sometimes I'll write in Dabble. Sometimes I'll write in AutoCrit if I like just need my screen to look different. Like one of those days where you're like, am I slumping or do I just need to like switch it up for a hot second? I usually use Dabble for my final read through, which is listening to the book read back to me. Um,
What
and
is
then
Scabble? I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, so Dabble Writer, I think it's Dabble Writer. Um, it's similar to like Readsy or any of these other platforms in terms of being able to write on it and things like that. I do like that they have the read back feature. You do have to pay for the read back fee, like you have to pay the for the premium whatever it is. So I do pay for that one, but for me it's worth it to hear the book read back to me.
That's
Because
why I
I
use
catch a
Microsoft
lot of
because Microsoft does that.
Yeah, I had to use Word all through school. I don't want to use Word anymore. I'm good. I
I
don't
think that's why I use Word because I used it. That's what I'm like. I don't deal well with
yeah.
change, you know.
I don't have a Microsoft package or anything on my laptop. I don't have any of it. So I don't use Word or anything like that anymore. Um
But
and then I
Dabble,
do
I've not
use
heard of that. I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah. I like Dabble and sometimes I'll write in it because it has dark mode. And so sometimes the dark screen just sits better with like looking at it. Because I'm blind as a bat. I wear contacts or I wear my glasses, can't see without them, but sometimes just like not having that bright white screen staring at me is
Oh,
nice.
I have mine as black. I'm the same way. Like I don't
Yeah.
like I write with a black screen, so I completely get
Um,
that.
Reedsy might have a dark mode, I don't know, but I keep it on like the screen is always white on that one. And then I do use Atticus for my formatting. So that was one of the first like author purchases I made was Atticus. Because actually Jessica Coffee is the one that told me about that back when I was first getting started. So I mean, I swear by that. Vellum is for
Mac.
Apple
Mhm.
users, yeah. So, I mean, if you have that, then people swear by Vellum too. Bobby uses Vellum; she loves it. So, I think depending on what system you have, like
I've
they're
heard
they're
great
both
things
fine.
about both.
Yeah. The worst thing about Atticus is it can be really slow. It can be really slow sometimes, especially when you're like you're on a crunch and you're trying to get it to move. It can be really slow, but I mean that could also have something to do with like the actual machine you're using and like how much juice. I don't know what the proper. I'm not a
Yeah.
tech person.
How many
Um,
people was on the internet that day? And
yeah.
yeah.
So those are the three that I really swear by that I use regularly. And then I have the Grammarly and Pro Writing Aid plugins. I have both of those or extensions, whatever they're called. Um, so I use both of those because English grammar, punctuation, all that stuff, not my strong suit. I can write you a story, but Bobby will tell you some of my other stuff is
That's why I have
confusing.
an editor because I'm not good at that kind of stuff either. Yes, and Bobby said, and you
Yeah.
have her.
I do have Bobby. I ask her lots of questions because I'm like I don't have a clue, and Dr. Google is not always helpful, and that's the one thing I think sometimes is really hard is we like to search things and we like to look things up and it's like try to find the answer, and there's not always a cut and dry answer. So finding really good people in the community as well that you can go to with questions and that you trust and will have answers is super helpful. So Bobby's my personal English teacher, and it's thank goodness for her.
I love Bobby. She's amazing. If y'all don't know, Bobby is also Leia Lane has amazing books. Go check all her stuff out.
They're up there. I don't want to get them down, but they're hold on.
I've got
They're there.
one or two of hers, and I got several of them on my Kindle. So, what is the best piece of money? And I hate to word it like that, but the best little piece of money that you spent on your writing career, and it could be something as simple as like a $5 pen that you just absolutely loved, a pack of post-its, or something as elaborate as like your cover design, but something that you think was a really good investment.
Mm, not you
And no, I
guys.
did not pay $5 for this pen. I don't know where this pen came from. Just throw that
I'm gonna
out
go
there.
with my keyboard. I'm gonna go with my keyboard because I love this keyboard. So
Ooh.
it's a typewriter keyboard. And it's light up, and I love this. So I'm gonna go with my keyboard because this is my baby. Um, yeah, and Atticus. Those are the. I'm gonna go with both those two things because I couldn't do anything that I've done with in terms of like formatting my books or the interiors or anything like that. Like all of my books have like some sort of something on the chapter pages, and um, it just makes the formatting so much easier and pretty-ish. So I can maybe compete with some of those trad people that do nice things.
Right. What is your favorite and least favorite thing about publishing?
Least favorite thing, marketing. Hands down, marketing. um, Favorite thing is getting to hang out with my best friends every day and just write random stories. I just like writing random
Oh, that's
stories.
the key word.
Yes, my clicky keyboard. It makes so much noise. It's beautiful.
Which out of all of your books do you feel needs a little extra love?
This is so easy. This is so easy. I'm going to pull down both covers. This duology right here, the nightlife duology. People love it when they read it, except for one person. One person left me a zero in a trash can, and that's okay. But people love this series when they read it. But most of the time, it's just like ignored. It's like it doesn't even exist. And Noah Barrett is great. So everyone
I
needs to
actually
read
think I just added that one to my TBR because when I was researching you, I saw the cover and I'm like, oh, I must read this book.
It's like the regular one that everyone. I mean, they're the exact same book. They just have different covers. So this is one like everyone can get on Amazon. You can get wherever. Um, this was actually the original cover, but now I've made it an exclusive one, so you can only get it on my website and its signings. And then that's the one for book two. Shelley loves the cheeks. She loves the butt cheeks. Okay, um, but this series, go read it, people. He's a billionaire and a cage fighter. How could you not love him?
I just added it to mine today. Like I said, like I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. I love billionaires and cage fighters. So hello, yes.
Two for the price of one.
Make sure you have book two on hand when you finish book. Okay, I will take that advice. Purchase both and download. Okay.
Sorry. I'm laughing at Shelley. Um, yes, workplace romance, sports, billionaire. Got quite a few tropes in there.
Yeah, I feel like everybody needs to be reading that. Yes, absolutely up my alley. So yes, thank you. Every time I do one of these interviews, I swear my TBR just grows and grows and grows. I really hope they have. There needs to be reading in the afterlife because that is the only way I'm ever going to get caught up. I mean, seriously.
I just need someone to give me immortality.
Or that I like that even better.
I
Yes.
want immortality. Like there are people like I don't want to live forever. I'm like, well then go ahead and die. I do. I want to
Right?
live forever. You do
I like
you.
I like your
I'll,
thinking.
like I'll miss you when you're gone, but like you do you.
There are people that say vampires are real, and stuff. Well, no, I don't really want to be a vampire. I don't know. I have to think about that one. That poses a good. I might add that to my questions.
We had this talk earlier today actually, and I did say I would want to be a vampire over a werewolf. Actually, I think I probably want to
Oh,
be a
if I had to
vampire
choose
over
between
like
that, vampire hands down.
yeah.
Yes.
But a phoenix wouldn't be bad either because at least you can be like reborn over and over again.
Yeah, but
So,
that might get annoying after a while. Depend unless you have control over it. So that does ponder the question. You're right.
I mean, you only have control over it if you have control over
Aren't the
unaliving.
Fae immortal? Are Faes immortal? I would totally be a Fae.
I think Fae just live a really long time, like
I'd be okay.
thousands of years type long time.
I think I'd be okay with that. I'd make a good Fae.
No, I want immortality. I want to never die.
Something to think about, though, people, right? Something to think about. So, I already said thanks to Shelley, I became obsessed with the Rise of the Grissom series. Thank you, Shelley. That book was fantastic. What out of that book, out of that series, was the hardest for you to write? Like a character or a scene?
Um, the hardest to write.
I mean, you've had some plot twists in there, too, that you're like, what?
Honestly, I don't think anything was really hard to write in that one.
You wrote that in
Um,
a week? Like, that's a chunky book.
no, I did not write Grissom in a week. That was 21 days. Misunderstood, I wrote in a week. Don't go out here giving people expectations about books being written faster. It was 21 days. I kept track. Um, anyway, I wouldn't say anything was hard about writing that, but I definitely like I would say the scenes that made me angry were definitely some of the ones with her legitimate well, let me not say her legitimate family. The family she grew up with. So I'm also
Oh,
trying
yeah.
not to give away
I
spoilers.
can, I
Um
can
so
understand that.
her dad and her brother,
Especially their brother.
if I could poke them with sharp objects. Um ugh. But I wouldn't say anything was hard about writing it.
Okay,
And
on the
you know
flip
what?
side of that,
That's
was
a
there.
lie. Making
Oh,
up new names for things, that's hard.
yeah.
That's hard because I'm always like, uh, and I'm, a lot of times I'll look up words in Latin and then I will start to shift letters and like parts of the word around until it sounds the way I want it to sound. And so that's what happened with Milgren's name. I had taken a different name and then I like changed some of the letters and I kind of shifted them around and I was like, oh, I like the way Milgren sounds. Like she sounds um like think like Professor McGonagall. Like she's definitely like kind of like that older type professor.
Mhm.
Um and like there's just like the sternness to her. Um and it's funny because I was talking to my friend and we were doing a reread of Fourth Wing and I'm like, I forgot this general's name was Milgren. Did I get her name from him or did I actually make it up? So I feel like moments like that happen, but like I know how I make up names, so I'm like, I
Or
don't know
did
if her
Fourth Wing
name
get
is
it from you? I mean, no.
Rebecca. No.
Right.
um, so I would say that's probably the hardest thing is like either making up like new names for things that don't exist, like in our
Especially
world.
in fantasy, yes.
Which is why I will probably never do like a real fantasy world that's like doesn't have any of the normal Western civilization things. First of all, I need everyday amenities. Like I need like a shower, I need a sink, I need some sort of toilet. Like I need clothing. I need something that's not a diaper as undergarments. Like I can't I can't do that like true fantasy world, but I'm also not trying to make up like whole new plant life and all that stuff. And unfortunately, in my other fantasy series, I am going to have to do a little bit of that in book three, but I have time before I have to accept that fate.
So you'll be fine. You got time. It will come to you. On the flip side of that question, what was the most fun to write? Or character or scene or and I won't limit you to the Grissom. I was just saying Grissom because that's the book of yours that I've read.
Well, we can
All
do
of your
Grissom. We
books.
can do Grissom. That's okay. So the most fun character to write in Grissom was definitely Camilla. Like she's just so weird and quirky, and I absolutely love her. Um, and I feel like she brings like a lightness to the story that's I mean, no one carries around like this like light cloud. And then there's just Camilla, and she's just like she says the most off the cuff things, and you're like, what, where, when, and where are you from? That's I please answer that. Um, but in general, so in general, that one was really fun to write just because my friend came to me with this list of things and was like, make me this. And I'm like, okay, I like a challenge. Here we
What did
go.
your friend say after? I mean, did she love it?
Yeah, yeah. So she actually, so the dedication page is actually to her. She actually took the dedication page out of the copy that she pre-ordered and framed it and hung it on the wall with my signature. So I literally like broke down crying. But
Oh,
I did. Every time there was a Camilla scene, I was just like cracking up, and they're just like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm like, "Okay, this is what happened, and this is what Camilla said." So she was a really fun character, but I think the most fun part about writing any of these books is I have no idea what's going to happen, and so I'm just like, let's see.
as a fellow pantser, I get that. Readers don't always believe that. Like, how do you not know how your book is going to end? How do you know that that's not going to?
Yeah,
I'm like, well, the characters haven't told me yet, so I don't
right,
know.
right.
Or
And so
like when
like,
they send you on a tailspin because they throw something at you out of the blue, and you're like, oh, okay.
mm-hmm. Because there were for a little bit, I wasn't sure if Feathers was going to be a trilogy or a quartet. I wasn't sure. And they're like, how do you not know? And I'm like, because I don't know what kind of mess they're going to get into next. There might be something else I have to resolve at the end of book three, which would mean there needs to be a book four. I'm not sure, but I think I'll be able to wrap that one up in three. But I don't know. Sometimes I have no idea. Like Grissom, that series Disavowed Birthright is supposed to be a trilogy. Supposed to be a trilogy. Please be a trilogy. Like sometimes I'm just begging for these characters to not act up because I don't have time for
It's
it.
also part of the fun of being a pantser is we don't know where the story's going to
Exactly.
go. We're just
Exactly.
as surprised as the readers are sometimes.
Very much so. Very much so.
If you could meet any of your characters in any of your books, who would it be?
It would definitely be Ari from this book. So Ari's the female main character. She's the one that's the homicide detective and the hit woman, and thinks she's the last Phoenix. Um, I would want to meet her because she is so badass. I freaking love her. Um, yeah, that's who I'd want to meet.
Yeah, I've already added that to my TBR, so just so you know, I already wrote that one down. So, if Netflix or streaming service did come calling, which of your books would you like to see them turn into film? She didn't even think about that.
This
You
one
knew.
first. Okay, we need to do Nightlife first. Okay, because this would be perfect for screen. Okay, so that one has to be first, but then we also have to do the tournament because the tournament is so think the government's gone to hell. Pretty much our current situation. They've gotten us in a lot of trouble. So then there's elusive company comes along called the company, and they are now our ruling government body. But they're, I mean, they're kind of dirty. They're whatever, corrupt. They put on this death tournament every year, and 100 people go in, and only two people are supposed to come out: 50 men and 50 women. And already that sounds a little bit suspicious to you, right? Like, why does it have to be an even number of men and women? And why do they have specific age brackets that they fall into? And like, the only exception of getting out of the tournament is being pregnant past a certain point. That's literally the only exception, or having genetic anomalies that are seen unfavorable. So just hang on to all that, okay? So you got this death tournament. Freaking cool. In my mind, I think it would be a really, really cool on screen movie. And then obviously Grissom, I think would be great. And The Shadows That Shackle would be awesome too.
Well, we're gonna put that out there. We need to see these brought to film the
So
right way, like
whoever makes movies, I'm here.
right,
Movies,
exactly.
movies, TV shows, I don't really care. Right
Enough
here.
with the remakes in Hollywood. Let's get some more indie author books on film.
I got them all right here for you. Okay?
See,
All of
they're
them.
ready. She's ready. Let's make it happen.
Oh, there's so many more to reach for. I'm gonna stop there.
What comes first for you? Is it a plot or the characters?
Um, I would say it's really neither. It's usually some weird little like snippet of something, or um like an idea. So, for instance, we're a bunch of us are doing a spooky release for Halloween this year. So for the next like however many years, we're gonna do a mass release every year. And this year the theme was spooky. So I'm doing bootlegging vampires, just because I thought it'd be cool if they were bootlegging vampires. Did I have any other storyline at the time? No. So my friend who does a lot of my covers, she had sent me these covers that she was never going to use, and I was like, oh, I think I
Now,
can
when you
use.
say, I don't mean to stop, but I have to. When you say bootlegging, or because two things come to my mind: bootlegging, as in like moonshining, or as in pirates. Like, those are the two.
So like think shoot, why am I forgetting the name? When they banned alcohol, prohibition. Thank you.
Prohibition. So like the moonshine type thing.
I was like,
Okay.
think distribution. That's not the right word. Yeah. So think like prohibition. That was the original thought. So they were going to be bootlegging like during Prohibition, 1920s, four sisters that are vampires. That's all I knew. That's it. I didn't have any other storyline for it. So she like sent me these old covers, and I was like, oh, I feel like I can use these. She's like, oh, well, I think the files got corrupt, so I'll try to make new ones. And I'm like, okay, great. She sends me back something totally different. She's like, I know this isn't the vibe that you were going for, but these are super cool. And they're like very like Quentin Tarantino vibes, like kind of colorful and everything. And I'm like, oh. And then all of a sudden the whole like premise changed. So they're still bootlegging vampires, but instead of bootlegging like alcohol itself, they're bootlegging vampire venom, because we live in a world where vampire like they know about vampires, but like it's a thing, but vampire venom became this like essentially a addictive drug. And so it's been banned. And if you are caught selling it, taking it, distributing it, whatever, if you're caught at a bleeder den or running one, like it's offense punishable by unaliving, essentially. Like that's where we're at. But they're bootlegging. Uh, one of the sisters is like mixing it with alcohol. So like that's like her thing. Another one runs like bleeder dens, and so they're still bootlegging. It's just like a very different vibe. So but it just started with a random idea. Like I didn't know anything else.
You had me at vampires. I was like, you had me at
Book
vampires.
one releases October 13th.
Uh, I will be keeping my eye out for that.
Sorry.
What is your favorite tropes? Whether to read or write, it doesn't matter.
Ooh. Okay, Found Family is probably my favorite one to write because it almost always inevitably happens, especially if you're writing why choose. I feel like it's if you are writing a why choose where they actually genuinely care about each other, like it's inevitable for Found Family to be in there. Um but I definitely like a breeding kink. That's yeah. Age Gap is a great one. Let's see. I think those are probably some of my favorites. I like them all.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Just give them all to me.
We love them. We love tropes. I get you. What is the most valuable piece of writing advice you have received?
Write the book because someday you'll be someone's favorite author.
Oh, I've heard write the book and don't stop, but I love that somebody will be someone's favorite author. I love that. That needs to be a shirt. Or, like a bumper
Whole
sticker.
merch line. Whole merch line.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Have you ever received any bad advice or bad writing advice that you're just like, no, thank you?
I'm sure I have. Um, and I don't even know that I could tell you what it is because I try really hard to get stuff out of my head that's not necessary for me to remember. And unfortunately that just means like everything goes out of my head. Like I have the memory of like a goldfish these days. I forget everything if it's not written down. So I'm sure I've been told things that are just like a no for me, dog. Thanks, I appreciate it. Um, but I honestly don't even remember because I really don't focus on trying to remember those things. Like if I know it's not for me, it's just there's no point in trying to retain it.
That makes sense. Is there a genre you have not written yet that you think you would like to dabble in the future?
Horror,
Really?
yes, and I do have one coming. Shocker.
Does that count though? If you've already kind of started it, does that count?
It's not been started. It's not
Oh,
been
okay.
started.
Then it counts.
It's up here. It's still up here. But yeah, horror is a genre I would like to write. I don't know if I can do it well or not. We're gonna find out.
You don't know until you try, right?
But I mean, like sci-fi was one I didn't think I could do, and I did do a sci-fi story, and that'll become a whole series um, at some point. So yeah,
I'm here for it. I won't read it because I don't like horror, but
that's okay. That's all right.
I'll
That's
read all your other stuff and I'll help you promote it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Do you have time to read? And if so, what are you reading?
Yes, I read every single day. Um, it's very rare if I like don't read at least a page. Um, and those are usually the nights where I'm just like, I know I want to read and I try and I'm just like, I can't. So I'll literally read like a page and I'm like, yes, and I'll lose my reading streak. Um, I'm currently reading a lot of different things. So I'm reading Phantasma, Iron Flame, How to Sell a Haunted House. I started Dead Girls last night. I'm reading Five Families, which is like a nonfiction mafia history. Um, what else is in bed with me? I don't remember what else is in bed with me, but
When you're reading these, are they on your Kindle or paperback, hardcover, audio? How are you consuming these?
physical book girly.
Ah.
Physical book girly. So as you can see, I have a problem. These all these books behind me. And this is a very small portion. So my fun fact when I meet people, because people are like, "Tell us a fun fact about you," and I'm like, "Well, I have a library three times over, and it takes 1,000 books to be considered a library. So you go ahead and you do that math."
I am
Um,
jealous.
but most of my books are downstairs in the basement. I will sometimes read on Kindle. I'm just not a big e-reader. Um, I'm trying to get into audiobooks. I'm trying so hard. And I'm not a big audiobook person either, but I'm really trying. I bought some. I bought a lot.
So you're still supportive. You're still
Yeah,
supporting the. It's
yeah.
okay.
I have no problem spending them. I will spend, spend, spend. But whether I actually consume it in that platform or not is something entirely different. Um, so you don't want pictures of that destiny. It's terrifying. It's not good. They're not organized right now. I don't have them on shelves. It's not good.
Oh, that would be sad. You might get sad if you see that.
Yeah, it's. I mean they're neatly stacked. They're in piles. They're just not like I can't find anything downstairs right now. Um, that's a whole nother story.
If you could sit down with one famous person, and they do not have to be a writer, and they don't even really have to be famous to us, but famous to you, dead or alive, it doesn't matter. Just somebody that you would sit down with, pick their brain, have maybe coffee, tea, lunch with, just to hang out with. Who would that be?
Harvey Dent Mutter, or it might be like Mutter. I don't know. I don't speak German, but we'll go with Harvey Dent Mutter. So a lot of people have probably heard about the Mutter Museum up in Pennsylvania, but he was essentially a pioneer for plastic surgery. So like an innovator, someone who pushed the envelope and kind of really just didn't care what other people thought of like the vision that he saw. And he is by far one of the most inspirational people like to me. Now, it makes a little bit more sense if I explain that I was at one point going to go to med school and become a surgeon, which is why I became obsessed with him and like all of, and like his museum and everything. Um but yeah, he is one of. Ooh, Bobby, let's go together.
I think
Because I
y'all should do a
yeah,
trip, group
yeah.
trip.
I haven't. Do we have a signing in Pennsylvania?
Where is it at in Pennsylvania? Because I feel like I've
I
heard
think
of
it's in
this.
Philly. I I want to say it's in Philly, but I might be wrong about that.
So if you have one in New York, Philly's not that far from New York.
I don't have one in New York yet.
There's time. There's time.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. If not, just a girls trip.
If
No, I'll be at Books, Gowns, and Crowns.
oh, what would your spirit animal be?
A wolf.
Good one. What is the strangest thing currently in your refrigerator?
I don't know because I honestly haven't gone in it in like a month.
Then that could mean you have all kinds of scary stuff in there.
Yeah. So, our mother like occupies the fridge. I eat pretty much nothing but takeout and energy drinks, so I don't have to put anything in there. So I haven't gone in there in a while, so I don't have the slightest clue.
There you go. It works. It works. Now, this is the most controversial question I will ever ask you. It's households are divided. My household is divided, and some people take this very seriously. And being from Jersey, I will be interested to see what your answer is.
Okay.
Does pineapple belong on a pizza?
No, absolutely not. No.
I knew you were going to answer that way.
No. Please tell me you don't say yes.
Oh, I love pineapple on pizza. However, my husband is an Italian from Staten Island. So does not agree with that at all. He's like
No.
you. He thinks it's a crime against nature.
It is. Stop that. That is illegal. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. No parole.
I told you, it's very controversial. Like, people take it very serious, especially from New York and
Oh my
Jersey. It's
sweet baby
like,
Jesus. I'm having a heart attack over here. Let me turn my fan on. Ooh,
tell me how you really feel. I mean, don't hold back.
I feel like you may have just severed our friendship,
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
there's
Don't
there's
count
room
against
for
me.
redemption because other than that, I like you very much. Just
The
we're
feeling
just
is
never having
mutual.
pizza together ever.
That's okay. I
Yep.
very rarely ever get it, though. I will tell you, I my kids are 9 and 10, and they just tried it this year for the first time. One likes it, one does not. So
Okay. Does not. You're on my team.
my daughter, she's like her dad. She's like, no, my son, but my son loves pineapple like anything. Like he's on his pineapple
He's a
craze.
boy. They
So
don't have taste buds. I don't even think they like
that
know
is
how
true.
to
They
actually
do
taste
eat
food.
some weird stuff. Like
Yeah. That's all. That's like a neutral. It doesn't even count.
that's true. That's true. What does literary success mean to you?
Oh. Um. So I think a lot of us like to say like a certain number of books sold, or like making a bestseller list, or a certain amount of income coming in. And I think like yes, all of those things are success, but I think a lot of the little things mean so much more. Like someone reaching out saying, I felt so seen because I read your book and I went through something similar in my life. Or, you know, you're an auto buy author for me. Like I'll buy anything you write, even if I don't read it. Um, or the first time that someone walks up to you at a signing and already has your book in hand and asks you to sign it. Like I feel like some of those little things are like the pinnacle of success because they're so minor, it's easy to look them over, but they're so impactful you never forget them.
I love that. I have been doing this little live thing for probably a year now, and that is probably my most favorite answer. Like, that was beautiful. You should be a writer.
Shots. I always thought that might be a actually no, I never wanted to be a writer in the first place. This happened by accident.
I can relate to that on so many levels.
Yep, this was an accident.
Fate always has a weird thing of making things happen.
Right? I'm like, okay. You know, English was
You
my
say
first
it's ready to
subject.
go. What is your current pet peeve?
People that don't use their turn signals.
Oh, that's a good
It's so easy, especially in the newer cars. You don't even have to flick the thing back down. You just tap it and it blinks, blinks, blinks for like 4 or 5 times, long enough for you to get over or make your turn. Just use your turn signal.
That's why they're there.
It's not hard.
No,
Rant over.
that's a good one. Advice for a newbie author. Somebody that's new or somebody that's even just sitting down to start writing.
Um, I mean, first thing is write. Just write. It doesn't matter if you got down 2 words that day or if you got down 2,000. Just write. Um, do not sit there and obsess over being like somebody else because none of us operate or kind of work exactly the same. Even even those of us that maybe like have a similar process, there are little nuances that are our own. And you're going to have to do some trial and error. You're going to have to figure out what works for you. You can definitely try what other people do. Like I'm not saying don't try it, but don't sit there and obsess and say, well, so and so is successful, so I have to do it just like they do, and it doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for your brain, it doesn't work for whatever, you know, your structure, your environment, or even like your circumstances. You know, someone who maybe works a night job and has time to write during the day, but you don't, that's never going to work for you if you have to go into the office during the day and see patients or something, you know, like so take what you see, try it, and then morph it into what your best work practices are. And that's not going to be overnight. It's going to keep evolving every single day, and that's all right.
That is excellent advice. Now for the important questions. Where can we get your books?
All the places. No, I'm just kidding. So all of them are on Amazon. All of them are on KU. You can get signed copies from my website, brittonbrinkley.com. And then obviously at any signing you see me at, I will have majority, if not all, but you can always pre-order anything in my backlog. Um, and then Grissom and the Feathers duology are both on Barnes and Noble, and Feathers might be some other places too because it's through Ingram. So I don't know
Shelly's
where.
saying you have bundle deals on your website.
I do have
We
bundle
like
deals
deals.
on my website for the series, and then if you are the diehard, which apparently there are more out there than I thought there would ever be, because when I made this bundle, I really didn't think anyone would ever buy it. But there's a romance remix bundle where you get everything, so that is there too if you'd like it. And that's on my website. You can also get it at any signing. So
And you mentioned signings. Where are you going to be? What signings are you going to this year where we can track you down and have you sign our books?
sorry, I didn't mean to cackle.
You
It's a
said you're
long
going to
list.
a few, you know.
A few dozen. Okay, no, not dozen. We're not that far yet. So next one will be Sinners and Saints down in Florida in March. April I'll be in Baltimore for Dreaming Dirty in Maryland. May is a super busy month. I'll be at A Million Lives in Baltimore, and then I'll be at the Newark Book Fest in Ohio, and then where are we going, guys? Oh, Lust in the City down in Virginia Beach. June, I'll be in Norfolk for Sexy and Sassy. July is Sinful Signings in Roanoke, and then BB4E in Vancouver. Um, August, where am I going in August? August is Nashville and Boston. So what is that? Black Hearts and Sinners and Stardust. Where am I in September? September, I'm in DC for Books, Gowns, and Crowns. This is also a test of me remembering all the places I'm going. October is Books and Bourbon in Bardstown, Kentucky. November is Lust in the City in Michigan, and then Booked in Chaos with our wonderful Shelly down here. And I know I missed one. More than likely Canal Town, which is also in Ohio in October, and then Aces Wild in June in Atlantic City.
So plenty of chances everywhere, even up in Canada, to get to meet this lovely lady in person.
And they're all on my website, so you don't actually have to remember any of those. And I'm impressed that I did.
I'm impressed. Like you knew it by month.
I think it's just
I
like
think I
looking
only
at
have
hotels
like
today.
four, and I'm like, where am I going this year?
I think it's only because I looked at my hotels today to make sure that I had hotels booked everywhere.
It's completely understandable. Hey,
Yeah,
it
it's a
takes a
lot.
lot to
I
to travel and do all the things.
we went this is Gracie's fault, so I'm gonna blame Gracie. Last year at some point, Gracie was like, I'm in my effort era. And then she dragged the rest of Robert's Row with her. And so we have all been in our effort era, and we thought it would kind of have like fizzled out by now, like maybe taking a detour, resting, hibernation. Nope, still going. Still going. And that's how we ended up here with so many signings.
I
And
did
I'm like,
notice one missing off your list. Didn't you say you're like around the Chicago area? Or no, you're in Virginia. Never
yeah, I'm
mind.
in
Never
Virginia,
mind.
yeah. Um, yeah, so that's also why we have like
Been a busy year.
30 releases between the four of us coming out this year.
That's exciting.
Get your shelves ready.
Right. That is all I have for you. Is there anything that I missed? Anything that you want to talk about?
Um, I do have my 10th book releasing on Friday.
Then
Um,
yes, let's talk about it.
so that's this one here, Scarlet Hearts, and this one is Ashley's fault. So this book was never supposed to exist. And Ashley wanted me to go with her to a signing in Ohio. And you have to either have strong Ohio ties, your book has to be about like an Ohio topic, or you have to live in Ohio. Now, I went to the Ohio State University. Uh, Probably not strong enough ties because it's been like 19 years now. But so I was like, okay, we can write a book with Ohio State in there. So that's kind of where the premise for this one came in. These two meet on Valentine's Day. Our male main character Gavin, he needs a second chance at love, and our female main character just lost both her parents, and she needs a do-over. So her best friend convinces her to move back to Columbus, Ohio, into the house next door to her. Um, they meet on Valentine's Day, as different parties have both pushed them to this singles meet and greet, and things kind of go from there.
And what is the
So,
title? I need this book, man.
Scarlet Heart.
This is why I keep notes because I always add more books.
Yep,
Southern Heart,
yep. Scarlet Hearts.
Scarlet.
Yep. So this comes out on Friday. Now, I'm not the only one releasing a book on Friday, so I'm going to shamelessly plug my friends.
Please do. Please do.
All of Robert's Row is actually releasing books on Fridays, and I don't have physical copies to show you guys. But Ashley is releasing Calls of Need. Gracie is releasing Marrying Whiskey, and then Bobby is releasing Clarissa in the Wallflower. But there's more. So this one I actually do have because Roberta is making us all look bad because she got her books early. And then Roberta is releasing her debut, James, which is an MM romance. So, Cowboy too.
Congratulations, Roberta.
So please check out all of these books on Friday. And, as always, there's plenty of ways to support your indie authors if you don't have the means to buy books. Our posts, sharing things. We love KU. We love to see the page reads. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on here. Oh, wait, don't you have a Schmiv with Asher? Is that going on this week?
Oh, I do. Yeah. So she's doing one for, hold on, for this guy, Feathers of Truth. This was our paranormal found family thriller. Again, she's a homicide detective and a hit woman and thinks she's the last phoenix in existence, and she's not. I highly recommend, if you are very interested in this book, the second one is out. Where is it? Hold on. I got all my books haphazardly stacked here. This is the second one. I highly recommend that you have this one on hand, because as Vanessa will tell you, I throw you off a cliff and then throw a Mack truck on top of you, and there's jagged rocks at the bottom. And I show no mercy. I don't think this one is as bad as this one, but it's out there. Oh, and yes,
So is this going to be a trilogy?
we have Cole County up here.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm nervous to take it down. I'm only going to take down one, so otherwise all the books are going to fly off the shelf with me. So this is the first one in the series, Falling in Cole County. The other two are also out, Snowed In and Drenched. And then this summer, May 30th, maybe, the final one in the series comes out. So make sure you get this one too. Oh, and You're on Fire too, apparently, Gracie said.
Yes. Yeah, I've added quite a few books to my TBR thanks to this conversation. Thanks.
You're welcome. You are so welcome.
Well, thank you again. It's been so much fun talking to you. I can't wait to get the sequel to Rise of the Grissom, so I will be impatiently waiting for that. And of course, all the other ladies' books, that you plugged. Of course, we have to read them. What else is going on? I don't even know. Thank you. You have to come back.
Yeah, anytime. You tell me.
I need to have all of you guys on at one time.
Oh, I don't know if you're ready for that, but we're ready. Anytime you want, you let us read Feathers first.
That one too.
Oh, yeah. Okay, stop it. Um. Oh yeah, Bob. So Bobby's actually the first one that got to read Grissom. So she's been waiting the longest out of everyone for book two. Because she beta read it for me. Well, it was more like an alpha read, but she beta read it for me. So she's been patiently waiting. I'm so proud of you, Bobby. Good job.
Impatiently.
It's coming. I'm coming, guys. Just
It's okay. We understand. We
wait a
do.
second.
But yes, once you have that one come out, you're gonna have to come back again. We're gonna have to talk about it, talk about all the things.
Absolutely. Anytime. You tell me and I'll be here.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that came and hung out with us. I hope you guys are nice and warm where you're at. Like I said, I'm in the South and it's actually cold, so but all right. Thank you so much. You guys have a great week, and I will hopefully talk to you again soon.
Bye
Bye bye.
everyone.